March 14th, 2024. Maplewood, Virginia. A quiet suburban neighborhood rests under the fading glow of early evening. Nothing seems unusual. No screams, no signs of struggle, no indication that something horrific is about to unfold. But a single security camera, mounted above a back patio, is recording everything. The footage lasts just 31 seconds. It shows a woman, Alicia Turner, 35 years old, standing beside an elderly man seated in a wheelchair. The man is William Hargrove, 82, frail, paralyzed, and dependent on care. But in that moment, there is no trace of vulnerability, only warmth. Alicia leans down. She gently kisses him on the cheek. It's not rushed. It's not secretive. It's intimate, but calm. Familiar. William smiles. It's the last time anyone sees Alicia alive. Within hours, she disappears. No forced entry. No struggle caught on nearby cameras. Just a sudden absence. Her phone goes dark. Her car is later found abandoned in a grocery store parking lot. Doors locked, purse still inside. At first, it looks like a missing persons case. But detectives quickly realize something isn't right. Because Alicia Turner wasn't just a caregiver. She was the only person who had stayed. For 3 years, she had cared for William after a devastating car accident left him paralyzed from the waist down, while his family slowly drifted away, visits becoming rare, then non-existent. Alicia remained constant, reliable, present, devoted. Neighbors noticed. Delivery drivers noticed. Even medical staff noticed. She wasn't just doing a job. She had become part of his life. And maybe something more. As investigators begin retracing Alicia's final hours, they return again and again to that CCTV footage. 31 seconds that would later become the cornerstone of a murder case. Because in those 31 seconds, something else stands out. A shadow in the background. A vehicle passing slowly. A moment so subtle, it's easy to miss. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And what it reveals will lead detectives down a path of greed, betrayal, and a calculated conspiracy. One that began not on the night Alicia vanished, but days earlier, when someone learned about a will worth $2.5 million. Alicia Turner wasn't supposed to become the center of a murder investigation. She was known as dependable, quiet, professional, born and raised in Virginia. Alicia had spent most of her adult life working in healthcare, not in hospitals or high-profile clinics, but in people's homes. She chose a path many avoided, caring for the elderly, the disabled, and those who had no one else. It was demanding work, long hours, emotional strain, minimal recognition. But Alicia never complained. When she was assigned to care for William Hargrove in December 2021, it seemed like just another case. William had recently survived a severe car accident that left him paralyzed. His condition required full-time assistance, mobility support, medication management, daily living care. At first, Alicia was simply fulfilling her duties. But over time, something changed. William's family, his son, daughter, and even his grandson, visited occasionally in the beginning. But as months passed, those visits became fewer. Excuses piled up. Holidays were missed. Calls went unanswered. Eventually, they stopped coming altogether. But Alicia didn't. Day after day, she showed up. She helped him eat, bathe, move. She read to him, talked with him, sat with him during long, silent afternoons. She became his connection to the world. Neighbors began noticing the pattern. No one else ever came. One would later tell investigators. Just her. Their relationship evolved. What began as professional care slowly blurred into companionship, then into something deeper. Was it love? Some would later debate that. But one thing was undeniable. William trusted her completely, more than anyone else in his life. And in early 2024, that trust turned into something that would change everything. A decision, a legal document, a will, because William Hargrove, abandoned by his own blood, chose to leave his entire estate to Alicia Turner. $2.5 million. A life-changing sum, but also, as it would turn out, a death sentence. March 5th, 2024. Inside a quiet legal office, William Hargrove signs a document that would ignite a deadly chain of events. His will. The terms are clear. His estate, valued at approximately $2.5 million, would go entirely to Alicia Turner. Not his son, not his daughter, not his grandson. All of them were excluded. To William, the decision was simple. They left me, he reportedly told his attorney. She didn't. For years, Alicia had been his lifeline. While his family faded into background, she remained constant, loyal, present, compassionate. In his mind, she had earned it. But wills don't exist in isolation. They ripple outward. And when William's family discovered the change just 3 days later, everything began to unravel. Phone records would later show a surge of activity between family members. Calls, texts, late-night conversations, meetings. What was said in those early exchanges would never be fully known, but investigators would later reconstruct the tone. Shock, anger, then something darker, entitlement. Because to them, the money wasn't just inheritance. It was theirs, and someone had taken it. Alicia Turner. In their eyes, she wasn't a caregiver. She was an outsider, an opportunist, someone who had manipulated an elderly, vulnerable man into rewriting his will. At least, that's the story they told themselves. And as days passed, that narrative hardened. By March 10th, just 5 days after the will was signed, investigators believe a decision had been made, not to contest the will, not to negotiate, but to eliminate the problem entirely. A plan began forming, one that would involve money, secrecy, and violence. A contract worth $50,000 for a life worth far more. The plan didn't start with violence. It started with conversations. Investigators would later uncover a web of communication, dozens of calls and messages exchanged between William's son, daughter, and grandson in the days following the discovery of the will. The tone shifted quickly, from disbelief to anger to action. By March 10th, those conversations extended beyond the family. New phone numbers appeared in the records, burner phones, temporary lines purchased in cash. The kind of devices people use when they don't want to be traced. But in 2024, almost everything leaves a digital footprint, and detectives would later follow those footprints straight into the heart of conspiracy. Through text messages and call logs, they uncovered negotiations, amounts discussed, logistics planned, targets identified. Alicia Turner. The agreement was simple, $50,000. In exchange for making her disappear. The payment would be split, half up front, half upon completion. Bank records would later confirm the transfers. Small, structured deposits designed to avoid detection. But even the most careful plans have cracks. Surveillance cameras, cell tower pings, license plate readers, all silently collecting data, waiting. As the plot moved from planning to execution, the family believed they were covering their tracks. They weren't, because on the night of March 14th, everything would be captured, not just the beginning, but the end. March 14th, 2024. Evening. Alicia Turner finishes her shift. Nothing unusual. No signs of fear. No indication that she knows what's coming. She leaves William's home, gets into her car, and drives to a nearby grocery store. It's a routine stop, one she's made countless times before. But this time, someone is waiting. CCTV footage from the parking lot shows her car pulling into a space. Moments later, a van enters the frame. It doesn't park immediately. It circles. Slow, deliberate, watching, timing. Alicia steps out of her vehicle. She reaches into the back seat, possibly for her bag, and that's when it happens. The van pulls up beside her. 2 men exit. Fast, coordinated. Within seconds, they grab her. There's a brief struggle, but it's controlled, efficient, professional. They force her into the van. The door slams. And just like that, she's gone. The entire abduction lasts less than 20 seconds. No one intervenes. No one even notices. But the cameras do. Multiple angles. Multiple timestamps. Each one capturing a piece of the puzzle. The van's license plate. The direction it leaves. The exact time of the abduction. It's all there. And yet, at that moment, no one knows. Alicia Turner has just been taken. and she's not coming back. The van travels across town, through quiet streets, past businesses closing for the night, until it reaches an industrial area on the outskirts of Maplewood, a place few people visit after dark, an abandoned warehouse. What investigators would later discover makes the location even more chilling. The property was owned by a company registered to William Hargrove's son. Inside, the building is empty, cold, silent, perfect for what was about to happen. Details of Alicia's final moments would later be pieced together through forensic evidence. Signs of restraint, struggle, violence. She fought, but she was outnumbered, outmatched, and alone. By the early hours of March 15th, Alicia Turner was dead. Her body was left behind, hidden, discarded, as if her life had meant nothing. But the people responsible made one critical mistake. They assumed no one would connect the dots. They assumed the location was safe. They assumed wrong. 10 days pass. Alicia Turner is officially listed as missing. Search efforts begin. Friends, co-workers, and local volunteers join in. But there are no leads, no sightings, no answers, until March 25th. An anonymous tip comes in. It's vague, but specific enough to act on. Police are directed to the abandoned warehouse. When officers arrived, they don't expect what they find. Inside, hidden among debris and decay, they discover Alicia's body. The case changes instantly. From missing person to homicide, crime scene investigators move in. Photographs, samples, evidence collection. Every detail matters. And in this case, there's a lot to find. Fibers, DNA, signs of forced entry. But most importantly, connections. Because the warehouse isn't just a random location. It's owned, and ownership leads somewhere. Straight back to the family. In modern investigations, data tells a story. And in this case, the story is overwhelming. Detectives begin analyzing phone records. What they find is impossible to ignore. In the days leading up to Alicia's disappearance, William's family had been in constant communication, not just with each other, but with unknown numbers. Those numbers lead to burner phones, and those burner phones lead to suspects. Text messages reveal everything. Discussions about timing, about money, about Alicia. Is it done? Make sure there's no trace. Cold, calculated, clear. Bank records add another layer. Payments totaling $50,000, broken into smaller amounts, transferred through multiple accounts, but still traceable, still visible. Then comes the CCTV, footage from the parking lot, from nearby streets, from traffic cameras, each piece aligning perfectly with the digital evidence. The same van, the same timeline, the same individuals. It's not just a case anymore. It's a blueprint of a murder. April 3rd, 2024. Police make their move. 5 arrests, William's son, his daughter, his grandson, and 2 hired killers. The charges are severe. Conspiracy to commit murder, kidnapping, homicide. During interrogation, the story begins to crack. Inconsistencies, contradictions, finger-pointing. But the evidence is too strong, too complete. By the time the trial begins in September, the prosecution has built an airtight case. Jurors are shown the CCTV footage. They hear the text messages. They see the financial records. And they understand the motive, greed, pure and simple. On October 14, 2024, the verdict is delivered. Guilty. All 5 defendants. Sentences range from 25 years to life without parole. Justice, at least in the legal sense, is served. But for some, it comes too late. On the same day the verdict is announced, William Hargrove dies. Some say it was illness. Others say heartbreak. He had lost everything. His family, his partner, his reason to keep going. Alicia Turner's story becomes more than just a case. It becomes a warning about the risks caregivers face, about the dangers of unchecked greed, about how quickly love can be twisted into motive. She had done everything right. She cared. She stayed. She loved. And for that, she paid the ultimate price. But her story doesn't end in silence. Because the truth was captured, on camera, in data, in evidence that could not be erased. And because of that, the people responsible were held accountable. Alicia Turner may be gone, but she was not forgotten. If this story shocked you, make sure to hit like to honor Alicia's memory. Subscribe to the Crit Stories for more real cases that expose the darkest sides of human nature. And comment below, was this justice or something even deeper?